Lee, at NextView, you're investing in startups that focus on the everyday economy. What exactly is the everyday economy?
To us, it's really about the digital transformation of categories of everyday living. So we look for companies that are taking consumer technologies, software technologies, new cutting edge technologies or business models, and applying it to categories of mass market consumer spending. So that includes housing, transportation, food, apparel, entertainment, and so on and so forth. The way we think about it is, the internet, as we know, it's a little over 2 decades old. But it's having this kind of very long-term transformation that's occurring in the way that people experience these categories of everyday living. To take an example, 10 years ago, Airbnb and Uber and Lyft and others didn't exist. But these are actually changing the way people experience lodging and the way they experience transportation. People are not using just internet and software to solve a problem or look something up. It's actually changing the way they experience the world.
Well, one of those companies that you have invested in is Plastic. How is that helping the consumer when it comes to purchasing items in any industry?
So Plastic serves both consumers and small and medium-sized businesses. A lot of their business today is really with small and medium-sized businesses who want to use a credit card or other kind of payment card in the course of their everyday business transactions. So this includes paying for trade payables, paying for bills for their business. And oftentimes this historically might have been done through paper invoice and other means. But businesses increasingly want to choose to use a credit card to make those transactions, and Plastic makes that happen. And the reason why they might want to do that is for the same reason that a consumer might want to use a credit card. For some people, it's the ability to have a short-term financing for a specific payment. For others, it's rewards or points or other incentives that they might get with their credit card. Plastic does the same thing, but it's extending that to small and medium-sized businesses where they used to be doing that with paper and check invoices.
Why would I use Plastic as opposed to a credit card or other forms of payments?
What Plastic does, though, is flip the traditional kind of economic model of credit cards on its head. So as a consumer, we don't typically pay the cost of the transaction, right? So when we can transact with the merchant, we use our credit card, we pay for something. The merchant pays a very small transaction fee out of the total value of the transaction to enable that payment on a credit card. Plastic flips it around. So if you're a small, medium-sized business, you might have a $10,000 invoice that for whatever reason you might want to transact on a corporate credit card rather than paper and check. You can use Plastic to pay for that. The business actually incurs a small transaction fee for the convenience of doing that. The organization that sent the bill or invoice in the first place doesn't have to pay the transaction.
Properly is a company that you're invested in. What exactly does Properly do, and how is it making it a lot easier for people to sell their homes?
What Properly is doing is making it easier for consumers to sell their home, utilizing both human input and technology. So if you think about the process of selling a house, there's one part which is trying to determine the correct value of a house. Properly brings in a vast array of data and machine learning to try and help accurately price a house, not just use kind of an estimate of, well, I know the house down the block sold for this and the house down the block sold for that. And in terms of the actual transaction process, there's still a human agent involved in the loop, but Properly uses software and online technology to enable the seller to look at offers from different potential buyers and counter offers all through an online portal rather than trying to do it through email and paper and fax and what have you.